All right, let's get right into it. For a while now, AI has felt like this unstoppable wave, right? But something definitely shifted last year. A kind of quiet message started popping up, and it makes you wonder if 2026 is the year humans actually start to push back.
It all kicked off with this one little sentence, almost hidden in the end credits of a big TV show in 2025 called Pluribus. Just 6 words. This show was made by humans. Now, in a world where everyone's jumping on AI tools, that wasn't just a credit. That was a declaration.
And you gotta know, this was no accident. That made by humans line, that was a deliberate line drawn right in the creative sand. And it basically signaled the start of a much bigger conversation.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The show's creator, Vince Gilligan, he didn't just leave it at that on-screen credit. Oh no. He came out and publicly said he would never use AI in his work. So what started as a simple line in the credits suddenly became this personal and professional manifesto.
So this just begs the big question, doesn't it? I mean, last year we had an AI actor named Tilly Norwood. We even had an AI band with 1 million plays on Spotify. So after all that, are we finally seeing the start of a real, organized pushback? And believe me, that statement from Pluribus was not an isolated incident. When you look back at the tail end of 2025, you start to see this clear pattern of pushback emerging in totally different industries, from radio all the way to fast food ads. Let's just walk through how this thing built up. So in October, you've got this very real physical backlash happening in New York. Then, over the winter, a giant corporation, McDonald's, actually pulls an AI ad because people were not having it. And by December, one of the biggest names in radio makes a massive policy change. And you can't overstate how big this iHeartMedia move was. We are talking about the biggest commercial radio station in North America. They launched what they called a guaranteed human program, promising their listeners that every single song they play will be performed by, you guessed it, actual human artists. But this pushback isn't just happening in boardrooms. On the streets of New York, people saw ads for this wearable AI necklace called Friend. Its whole thing was that it would listen to your conversations. The public reaction was just visceral. People felt it was way too much, and the ads were literally vandalized with pictures of it spreading all over social media. Okay, so a famous creator draws a line in the sand, the public is physically pushing back, major companies are changing their tunes. It really feels like the tide is turning, right? Like, are we just done with AI? Well, not quite.
Because then you see this number. And this number, it changes the entire conversation. $2 trillion. That's how much global spending on AI is expected to hit this year.
And this, right here, is the core conflict of this whole story. Because while this cultural pushback is very real, there's an economic tidal wave of just an unbelievable scale moving in the exact opposite direction. I mean, this chart tells the whole story. At the end of last year, global spending was already at a mind-boggling $1.5 trillion. The forecast for this year? A jump all the way to $2 trillion. This isn't a slowdown. This is hitting the accelerator. And look, this isn't just some wild guess. The research firm Gartner, a huge name in tech research, is the source for this data. So the key takeaway is, no matter what cultural resistance we're seeing, the money, the investment, is actually growing faster than ever before. So where does all this leave us? You've got two incredibly powerful opposing forces, a growing human resistance on one side and this accelerating wave of money and tech on the other. It really sets up two completely different visions of what our future looks like. So on one hand, you have the resistance. For them, AI is an enemy. It's a threat to all the things that we think make us human, our creativity, our authenticity. But then you've got the acceptance argument, which says AI isn't an enemy at all. And this quote just perfectly sums up that other side. The whole argument is that we need to stop looking at AI like it's some invading force. Fundamentally, it's a tool that we humans built. And because of that $2 trillion investment, well, it's not going anywhere. So the only real path forward is to figure out how to live with it. Which brings us right to the final question. Is this tension we're feeling the start of some unavoidable war for the soul of our culture? Or is it just the beginning of a messy, complicated, but ultimately necessary partnership? The line's been drawn. The real question is, which side is going to win out?